Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network. Our final segment tonight, and as always, we'll end up by looking ahead to this week's games. And we're joined by our featured cheerleaders and our guest pickers this week. Scott High cheerleaders Gracie Gray, Leslie Boatwright, both sophomores. We had 2 Oneida cheerleaders on last week. This week, we've got 2 Scott High cheerleaders. Gracie was supposed to be here last week. You guys had a Halloween party. I can't believe you picked a Halloween party with your team over being here with us, but we understand your priorities were where they were, so we've forgiven you. But no, seriously, thank you guys for joining us. And it's unfortunate we don't have a Scott High game to pick this week. Scott High's finished, but we are going to look at the other teams in Scott High's region, but we'll get to that in just a minute. First of all, let's talk about you guys and let's talk about cheerleading for just a minute. And I'm Tim Smith. Kevin, you know how much Tim ridiculed me and scorned me.
You ain't the only one.
Well, yeah, that's true. So I retired this question, okay? But I'm going to bring it back because Lorenzo Garcia, he's standing right over here. He and I were talking a minute ago before we came on, and he said, why do you bring these cheerleaders on? Cheerleading's not a sport.
Oh.
I'm kidding. He did not really say that. But is cheerleading a sport?
I think it is. I think it's a very technical sport that you have to be able to do, and I think that the stunts and the athletic training that we take, I feel like people don't really take consideration of that sometimes. And I mean, we run, we do hardcore things, and I'm grateful that we have a coach that allows us to consider it a sport, and she really does make us feel like cheer is an amazing thing.
And let me reiterate, okay, Lorenzo did not say that cheerleading is a sport. Okay,
By his expression, I gathered that.
Don't boycott him. Okay, he's going to hand me a bill before I walk out of here. Leslie, talk about the preparation that you guys go through. All right, football players practice every day. We know that. Basketball players practice every day. How about you guys as cheerleaders? What's the preparation like?
Well, we obviously have a lot of dances, and we have a lot of cheers too. And usually they say when you start, you don't know the cheers because there is so many that you have to learn. And I can see why someone would think that it's not a sport because all they see is us just standing there saying cheers and stuff. But really you have to learn that stuff, and stunning and stuff, there's a lot of work that goes into that too. And it's hard to stunt too, I know, but yeah.
I want to answer the question. Here. How many football players or baseball players, basketball players, soccer players do you guys know that can backflip the entire length of a basketball court, which is 10 or 12 of those? We call them full pulls is what we call them. So how many other athletes do we know that can do that other than?
Tim used to be able to, but he can't do it anymore.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, sorry, go ahead.
One comment I like to make. Now, nobody would ever question if gymnastics is a sport. And what you all do really involves a lot of gymnastics, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think that settles that argument right there.
There we go.
All right, so let's talk about the preparation on game night. So you guys have got all the stuff that goes into a game. Talk about that. You guys don't make the run-out banner anymore. You've got a permanent run-out banner. So that's one chore you don't have to take care of on Friday night. But you're still making signs and a lot of times, to hang up on the stands or whatever. Talk about when you get to Friday night, what's the preparation like for a game?
Well, you have to make sure that you're always smiling and happy because that's what people might look at. It is stressful, though, because, everyone, obviously they're watching the game, too, but, you're right there in front of them, too. So, sometimes it's, scary. I don't know.
You guys both cheered in middle school, am I correct?
No, I didn't.
No, okay, you did not.
I did.
You did. At what point in your life did you know I want to be a cheerleader?
I remember when I was little, I would always go to Scott High games, and I would just look at them, and I just really wanted to be it. So in middle school, I tried out, and I made it, and I fell in love with it. And I went to all my brother's games, and I would always watch the cheerleaders. I didn't really care about the game, and that sounds bad, but I just like the technical ability of it, and I like how you just have to smile all the time, and I just feel like it's a very warming sport that a lot of people don't see.
You guys now are through with football, getting ready to go into basketball. Basketball season's 2 weeks away. Am I right, Rick? 3 weeks away? I mean, it's close. Completely different, but at the same time, there are a lot of similarities between football and basketball. I feel like that eyeballs may be on you more. Did you lose me? Well, okay. I feel like eyeballs may be on you more in basketball than football because football, there's a lot to look at. Basketball, when a timeout occurs and you take center court. I mean, you're literally center stage, and everybody is looking at you. So I'll let you guys answer this question, though. What is your favorite, basketball or football?
Basketball.
Okay. Any reason why?
Well, I used to play basketball in middle school, and I don't really understand football at all, but, like, I think it would be better to watch a basketball game because I actually know what's happening.
So where did you play basketball in middle school?
I played at Huntsville, but
Huntsville,
I was not very
okay.
good.
Okay. All right, so, and I just realized that in all the cheerleaders that we've had on this
That's
season,
the
Rick,
first one.
that with all of them that we've had on, with the exception of Chloe Tucker, who was from Burksville, all the Scott High cheerleaders have been from Huntsville. We're going to get in trouble. We're going to have to, in basketball season, we've got to remedy that, or we're going to get in trouble. Now, you're a Huntsville guy, but
Sure I am. University of Huntsville.
yeah. All right, guys, let me ask you, do you keep up with football other than what's going on at Scott High? You're at every Scott High game. Do you even okay, when the game's going on, you guys are looking at the fans and encouraging the fans to get involved in the game. Are you even really keeping up with, you just said you don't understand football.
I don't.
Are you really keeping up with the game? How much can you pay attention when the game's going on?
I can pay attention. Like, I mean, the Anderson County game, I really was in there because I wanted to watch Zeke and I wanted to see how good our seniors did on senior night. And I feel like we're really good at paying attention when it comes to offense and defense, but keeping up with everything else,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm too good at.
Well, I mean, we notice when people are clapping, so then we know something's good is going on.
So you probably don't keep up with a lot of high school football games, though, outside of Scott High, right?
No.
All right, so you guys are just going to wing this. Because
Okay.
we're going to ask you guys to predict who's going to win these games. Before we do that, Kevin, I'm going to turn to you. Oneida plays at Hampton on Friday, first round of the playoffs. You mentioned that Hampton got Oneida last year at Oneida.
Mm-hmm.
This is an opportunity for revenge for Oneida. But what are the Indians going to have to do to go up and get a win against a Hampton team that probably pretty much everybody thinks is going to win?
Well, Hampton is very big, very physical. They like to run the ball. They will only throw the ball maybe 5 or 6 times on Friday night. So that kind of helps you out defensively, knowing what you have to do, but you still are going to have to stop a very big and very talented football team that executes everything very well. We're going to have to play perfect. I'll just be honest with you. We're going to have to play an absolutely perfect game. That sounds like a tall task, but Coach Nealon, as you know what I'm fixing to say, if each person does what they're supposed to do, don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You do what you're supposed to do and do it well, you'll win a football game. And that's what we need to go up there and do Friday night.
All right, that is the 4 seed Oneida versus the 1 seed in Hampton.
Notice I didn't pick a winner.
And I'm not going to ask you to. I'm going to ask these girls to. Though. The 3 seed from this region is Rockwood. They're 6-4. They're going to be on the road taking on the 2 seed from the Upper East Tennessee end. South Green is 5-5. So this is your first game that we're going to ask you to pick the winner of. Rockwood at 6-4 versus South Green at 5-5. Who's going to win that game?
Rockwood.
Got Rockwood. Rockwood's a good football team.
I'm probably going to say Rockwood, too.
Okay. Well, that's Rick, Kevin. I don't know. You guys, if you agree, if you disagree, you chime in. I think Rockwood's got a really good shot at pulling the upset in this game.
Yes, I do too.
I do.
Okay. All right. Happy Valley. They are the 4 seed or the 3 seed, I'm sorry, from the upper side. They're going to be on the road at Monterey, who is the 2 seed in our region. Happy Valley is 2-8. Monterey is 8-2. Who's going to win that game?
Monterey.
Monterey. Good choice.
I was going to say Monterey.
Monterey. Monterey looks like probably an overwhelming favorite in that game. And then the other playoff game in week 1, week 11, whatever you want to call this, from Class 2A is going to be Cumberland Gap. Now, Region 1 has only got 4 teams, so all 4 teams get in no matter what. Cumberland Gap did not win a game in region play. They're 2-8. They're taking on the 1 seed from this end, York Institute. York is 6-4, but that record's a little bit deceiving. They played a tough schedule. York coming off that shutout win over Rockwood last week. Who do you like in that game, Cumberland Gap or Rockwood? Cumberland Gap or York?
Cumberland Gap.
Cumberland Gap pulling the upset. Okay, you heard it here. When Cumberland Gap springs the upset, you remember Leslie Boatwright predicted that. All right.
I'm going to have to go opposite of Les. I'm going to say York.
You're going to leave her out on that limb by herself?
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
To be honest, I was actually encouraging her to do that. Gracie, so if you don't get it right Don't blame
It's
me,
okay.
please.
We'll go down together.
I love it. Love it.
All right, let's step up to Class 4A. That's Scott High's classification. The 1 seed from the other region is Greenville. They're 10-0, and they're going to be hosting Fulton this week. Fulton is 4-6. You guys have seen Fulton play. Pretty good offensive football team, taking on a Greenville team that's always tough, always the team to beat on this side of the state at least. Who do you like this week?
I think Greenville. I
Okay.
really do think that they're going to pull out the win.
I'm gonna go with Greenville too.
I would
Two
say
thumbs
that's
up.
I would say that's a good choice. All right, Carter against Elizabethton. Elizabethton is the 2 seed on the other side. They're 5-4. Carter is 6-4. They put up 72 points against Fulton on Friday night. You guys have also seen Carter. You're familiar with them as well. It's been a while since we played Carter, but Carter at 6-4 versus Elizabethton 5-4. Who's going to win that game?
Carter.
Carter, another upset. Okay.
I think Carter.
All right, so it's unanimous, and I don't hear any disagreement from you guys.
I'm disagreeing on that one.
Well,
Elizabethton's tough in the playoffs.
Elizabethton's very tough. We were up there a few years ago, back-to-back seasons. I'm telling you, just what Carter did the other night, I don't know if it was – I'm still having a hangover thinking about that. But I mean, it was tremendous.
Yeah.
last Friday night.
Now that you guys have made your pick and you put it out there, I'm going to tell you that Elizabethton, they started off the season 1-3, but they're on a 4-game winning streak right now, and they're coming off a 62-0 win over Seymour. However, I'm going to side with you guys. I think Carter's got a chance to pull the upset Friday. All right, Granger and Gibbs. Granger is the 3 seed. They're 6-4. Gibbs is a 2 seed. They're also 6-4. Granger's coming off a 42-7 win over Claiborne. Gibbs is coming off a 71-42 win over South Doyle. You've seen Gibbs play. Who's going to win that game?
I think Gibbs. They're a tough team.
Okay.
Granger.
Granger, another upset. Well, I don't know, Rick. They're both 6-4. Would you consider that an upset?
No. But I would go with Gibbs. I mean,
I would probably go with Gibbs too, but that's probably a little more of a 50-50 game there. So far, you've got the one major upset that you're calling for, which was Cumberland Gap over York. We're going to hold you to that. Seymour, 3-7. They're the 4 seed from the other side, taking on Anderson County. They're 10-0. They're the 1 seed. Seymour's coming off a 62-0 loss to Elizabethton on Friday night. Who do you like in that game?
Who were the two people?
Anderson County and Seymour.
Anderson
Oh,
County.
Anderson County,
Okay.
probably.
Yeah, I think Anderson County's going to pull the win. I
Okay.
really do.
And Gracie, by the way, she picked York. And,
Yes, she did. She did. She picked York. So Anderson County over the Seymour in that game. All right, final game. Oneida 4-6. They're the 4 seed going up to Hampton 8-2. They're the 1 seed. You guys are Scott High cheerleaders, not Oneida cheerleaders. I know you still want Oneida to do well, but I'm just saying you don't have to look at anybody when you go to school tomorrow and they're going to get on you for picking against Oneida. So who do you like? We got one more upset going to happen this Friday night.
I don't think Oneida's going to win.
Okay.
I think Oneida's a very tough team, and I think that they could pull through, but I don't think that they'll win this one.
She got politics in her future, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Good job.
All right, so you guys are in agreement. It's probably going to be Hampton over Oneida.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so there you go. And that's going to do it for us, Gracie and Leslie. I almost forgot your name. Thank you guys for stopping by and
Thank
joining us.
you.
And that's it for us. Thank you for joining us as well. And until next week, have a good night.